All right. Empower through music. Thank you so much for both of you coming out here today in the space. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves going down here to here?
Sure. My name's Chris. I'm the founder, and I have been teaching music for 37 years, and music education is my passion, and I'm surrounded by amazing people, so life is good.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm Katie. I'm a music instructor with Empower, and then I also am one of the main administrators facilitating applications for grants and social media and fundraising shows and podcasts and those kinds of things.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I first want to acknowledge how small of a world it is, because you and me are neighbors
Yes, we
3 doors
are.
down in our complex.
Yeah, I'd love to just, for the listeners, when the door opened and I saw you, my mind exploded because we are literally neighbors, but here you are living in a different part of the city with a podcast show. So
Yeah.
it is a very small world.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, we used to rehearse with our band in that complex, and
Yeah.
Chris would always be so nice about it. I'm so happy for that, because I was always like, oh, I really hope we're not pissing off all the neighbors.
I loved it, and so did the neighbors, and we all talked about it. You know, that complex is really special. There's a lot of families in there. It's very old school. It was built the same year I was born, 1975, so I have a real connection. And your band is amazing, and it's what I wish every neighborhood had, like a little more community atmosphere. You guys were playing, the doors were open, everyone could hear it. It just felt right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says a lot about the neighborhood too.
Yeah.
Because that wouldn't go over everywhere.
No. People would, like, after we left that space, people would be like, where's the band?
Yeah.
And I'd be like,
awesome.
like, you like it? I'm like, when they say, like, are you in a band? I'm like, oh, no. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes.
And shout out to your mom, by the way.
Yeah.
She's the sweetest. She actually reminds me a lot of we were just talking about a colleague, Eli's mom. And every single day I drive by, I see her at least once, and we wave and smile.
Yeah.
She's so lovely. So, yeah.
She's
that's
been
great.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. So, yeah, can you guys explain, because I've done some good amount of research on you guys, can you explain what your mission is, and then also, to put it bluntly, why people should care about the mission?
Yeah, great question. In my history as an educator, I came across a number of students that other schools, other teachers had said, you can't learn music. And I'll highlight one kid in particular, Jordan, who's now a man. This is going back decades, but Jordan was 6 years old. And at the time, I worked at a guitar shop in New West called Neil Douglas. And Neil came up and said, hey, we've got a student that's going to go on your schedule who's been through a lot. He's had 3 strokes, and he can't really use his right arm. And everyone's told him he can't play guitar, but he really wants to play guitar. Will you teach him? And I said, absolutely. So about a week later, him and his mom showed up. And I opened the door, and I saw this little guy sitting there, and he had his head down, and his mom had tears in her eyes because she had been through so much with this process already. She had her arms crossed, and her name's Kelly. I said, hey, little guy, do you want to play guitar? And he wouldn't even look at me. He just nodded his head, like kicking his feet as if I'm going to say no. And I looked at his mom, and I could tell she was really emotional. And I said, well, let's get in here and do it. And the look he gave me was life-changing. So we sat down, and within the course of the first year, he learned 30 songs. More importantly, wrote his own song. And from there, his whole life changed. And I saw that happening countless times with my students. So I think over the course of teaching and getting experienced at it, I recognized I was really pulling for, I guess, for lack of a better word, the underdog, especially kids who couldn't afford lessons or had a physical challenge, a cognitive, emotional barrier. So Empower Through Music really is built to ensure everyone has access to music education. And so we tried to build a group of teachers that are empathetic, that lead with what does the student want to learn. We don't make them learn traditional methods. A lot of our kids will not be able to play a piano in a traditional way or a guitar. We don't care about that at all. The instrument is merely a conversation starter, and we build a trusting, nurturing relationship with these kids, and they stand taller, they become part of a community. The transformation is so powerful. And so that's why it matters. I think anybody that has had music in their life that knows how much it's affected them, and obviously the 3 of us, we get it. But I think even somebody listening that obviously all your listeners are probably into music, so they're all nodding right now. But
Yeah.
anyone out there could hear this story and recognize the value because of the emotional, the therapeutic, and the cognitive benefits of music. So we're just really a grassroots, bootstrapped, hardworking organization that has had to fight for everything, and we're doing great work, but we're just getting started, and we need the word to get out, and that's why we're here.
Nice.
Yeah.
How long have you guys been around for?
Officially, we started in 2018. That's when we became a nonprofit. And then in 2021, we were certified as a Canadian charity. And that was no small feat. Anyone who's tried to become
Definitely
a charity
not.
will know.
Yeah.
We had to prove our efficacy and, just really serve the community and show we were doing the work that mattered.
Yeah.
But that's when we started. And it's been just a great ride so far. I feel like we're just getting started, though. Every day I wake up and just feel like today's the first day, which gives me the energy to keep doing it and inspiring our team. And then in return, the kids and the team inspires me and our leadership group to just get our ass moving. It never ends.
Yeah.
There's no destination. We're just gonna have to keep going.
No.
So
The work definitely never ends, and I feel like the first 10 years of any charity is usually its infancy. And as someone who's worked in nonprofits for fundraising and everything, like I know how much work you guys do on a day-to-day, and how much it really takes to make impactful changes in people's lives. What about from your perspective?
So from my perspective, I started getting involved actually because I go to Horizon School of Music. And so that's how I met Chris, and I was introduced to the charity. And I reached out to Chris and I was like, hey, I'm in the music scene. I know lots and lots of people. Can I put a post on my Instagram asking people to donate gear? And to phrase it in a way that they would want me to phrase it, right? And he was like, absolutely. You do that right away. Say whatever you want. I trust you. And I was like, all right. And so I made that post, and we got a large donation of gear.
yeah,
A couple $1,000s worth at least.
so much.
At least.
So much gear.
Yeah. And through that, we met Chronic Fatigue.
Nice.
And Quinn reached out and was like, you know what, we want to be a part of things. Would you guys like to come to one of our shows? And so we went to one of their shows and we got some gear donation there. Chris got to go up and say a couple words and just kind of like spread what we're about. From there, Quinn came on here and then messaged me, was like, Katie, you need to go on this podcast and talk about Empower, because he is like such a huge supporter of Empower. He's just so awesome. And so that's kind of how I got involved. But as a teacher, going into these classrooms where a lot of these students are special ed and neurodivergent, and a lot of people don't give them the time of day. A lot of people, say that, say someone's passion is pursuing music. If you're challenged in a certain way, well, then you can't do it, like Chris said. And so people don't really ask them what they like. So going into a room and sitting down with a kid and going like, do you like music? Like, who's your favorite artist? And they kind of go like, oh, like you're asking me a question, like a specific personal question. Oh, do you want to play one of their songs? And they're like, yeah. And you're like, okay, let's do it then. And they're like, what? And in like 20 minutes, say, they could play a simple melody riff or sing along to it at a jam station or play a drum beat along to it. And after doing that a certain amount of times, you can see how their perspective has changed in a way that they are very capable of doing what they want to do. And it's really also not just that they're capable, but it's important that they should be able to. And so I think just showing a lot of the kids that there are people that really, really care about making what you are passionate about a reality is a really meaningful thing. And I've heard from a lot of teachers that last week I was teaching and a kid that has almost never sat down with any of us to play an instrument, who kind of doesn't really like us being there, which is, you know, he started singing out loud last week. And the teachers in the room stopped and went, and we were, my colleagues and I were looking at each other and we were like, oh my God, like what? He's singing, and he's walking around smiling and singing. And so we figured out what song he was singing. We're like, is this a song you're singing? And he was like, yep. And we were like, well, should we do it again next time? And he was like, yeah. And we were like, okay. And I, you know, talked to the head teacher afterwards, and he was like, I don't think I've ever seen him be that happy before. And it takes time, but it's like to hear that, you know, you're having such an impact on kids, especially like I know being like in myself in high school and stuff, not being able to have the finances to pursue any type of music. It's really cool to be able to see how much enjoyment these kids are getting out of you being there and caring and showing them that it's like all completely possible and it's all really important.
Yeah. That's a very really nice story. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you remember what song it was that he was singing?
It was Suzanne. Oh, Suzanne. I think it's called Oh, Suzanne. It's a song from like 19... Oh, I don't even know. It's an old song. It was like a deep cut. We were like, how do you know this song?
A B-side?
Type of song. Yeah, it was just like, it's interesting to see the kinds of things that they really fixate on. I have a kid that he is just like obsessed with the Samsung 2019 over the horizon ringtone.
Nice.
And which is awesome. And so every time I come in, he's like, we're playing it. I'm like, yes, we are. And so we go over to the piano and we play it, and he just lights up. He's just so excited about it.
I love that.
But yeah, it's cool.
As an outsider kind of looking in, like the thing that I would believe to be most impactful is just how it can build self-confidence for these kids.
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah, having people believe in them.
Yeah. Like Katie said, it may be the first time anyone's ever asked them, what do you like and what do you want to do? And as you were talking, Katie, I thought about this analogy that the way we speak as we grow up and we decide we want to present ourselves a certain way, and imagine somebody coming along and saying, that's not right. You can't present that way. You have to speak like this and only use these words because these are the correct words. Where, you know, in music, that unfortunately happens a lot. A kid may or may not get exposure to a music lesson or teacher. And unfortunately, quite often they'll be told what to play and won't be asked what do they want to play. And, you know, even 5-year-olds hate that, let alone 14, 15-year-olds when you really have, you know, strong identity and know what you like. So yeah, the 2019 Samsung ringtone, it reminds me of the impact of video game music. For whatever reason, my algorithms are pulling up old SNES games and I'm listening. I remember the songs, how they made me feel when I was, you know, 13 years old playing Final Fantasy and then trying to figure it out on my guitar and people telling me that was weird. Yeah. But it wasn't weird. That that meant something to me. So had I had a teacher say, wow, you like that theme? Let me show it to you. I would have gone through the roof, right? Instead of being held back all the time. So I think that's part of it. Yeah, like confidence and being seen for who you are. And also how unique we all wear our own musical language and our skin. Yeah. Like I always say to even adult students, I'm like, you might be a fan of a band and your friend might be love the same band, but you won't like the same song. You'll think this is their best song. You know, it's so specific, you know.
Incredibly subjective, yeah. I have just a kind of specific question about the instructors. Is there any specified training that they have to do in order to be an instructor to work with these kind of kids?
Absolutely. So, and I'll back up a bit because listeners might wonder, where did this word horizon come from? And we're talking about empower through music. So I started the charity first. I built it on the back of my own private teaching practice. I love teaching. It was my second to performing. Then it became my passion. Performing became second, which was really weird to admit. I knew that I wanted to do this work, but I didn't know how I would be able to volunteer and create this momentum without actually having a job. And if I stopped teaching, how would I do this? So I decided to start music school at the same time as the charity. Charity started first with a free music lesson event coinciding with the Junos. And it was a huge success. We had hundreds of people show up and rented out the floor of a mall in International Village, and that's what kind of kicked us off. And then the following, 2-3 months later, I opened a music school, very DIY. We were talking about this, right out of my living room. Over the years, Horizon School of Music has grown to now where we're serving approximately 1,000 families at any given time. It's a big organization. And so the amount of quality people that come into our world that get vetted out is quite enormous. Like I recently did a post looking for a few new teachers, and I had to get 60 resumes. And when I'm talking to candidates and I tell them about the charity, I can tell in the video, are their eyes lighting up or not? Are they resonating with this movement? And they don't have to. You can be an absolutely phenomenal teacher and not care about the charity, and you might or might not be a good fit for Horizon. But if their eyes light up and they show interest, I ask more questions, and then I invite them to come and volunteer and work and shadow our team. They work alongside me. Once they see what we're doing in the classroom, because it's pretty mind-blowing. Like even a highly educated music teacher has no idea what to expect. And in fact, you have to throw all of your training out the window. So someone who's listening who's a classical piano teacher would really struggle in our capacity, because they're going to think, oh, I'm going to put out some sheet music and I'm going to show them a major scale. Nope. A lot of these kids don't have functionality in their fingers. They might be dyslexic. They can't read the notes. We don't want to go there. We want to use the ears before eyes method. Play with one finger is fine. Play with your elbows. We don't care. So it's actually empathy is the first thing I look for. And a passion for helping others. I literally use those phrases. If you have empathy and a passion for helping others, you don't even need to be a musician to help us. We need you to see these kids for where they are. You need to build that relationship first. And that's the entry point. Now we do go through all the rigmarole of criminal background checks and then training and onboarding. But yeah, and we have a tiered system where someone who's listening who might want to volunteer and maybe has a little experience or thinks they'd be a good fit, they would come along for a ride along. We'd introduce them to the class, the teachers. After, I'd say, did you like that? Would you like to do more? And if they say yes, well, then we're going to go through some training. We're going to show you our methods. We're going to teach you one station. It could be strings, keyboard, drums, singing, composition, DJ, whatever stations we do. And then we put them in a station and we just give them very basic training and see how they handle it. If they like it and they want to keep going, it escalates from there and they move up the tiered system to where they are now a paid teacher. Like all of our funding goes to paying the teachers and the gear so that the kids can learn for free. And lastly, I would say, I hear this question all the time. Well, aren't there already music programs in schools? Aren't there already music therapists doing this work? And the answer is yes and no. The traditional band programs do not serve these kids. The band teachers themselves in the schools we're serving are telling us how grateful they are we're coming in because they wish they could get these kids in their class, and there's just no format that serves, it's very much a note reading style of learning, the traditional method, right? Band class. And second to that, music therapists are one-on-one. We're one-on-many. So we have a group of 4 to 6 therapists that go in, teachers like Katie, and they might be working with 3 to 4 kids in one pod or one cohort. So we're actually able to reach an entire classroom with 4 teachers. So to my knowledge, this particular thing has never, ever been done in any similar capacity ever anywhere. And so anyone listening that thinks, well, that's weird, I thought it existed, it doesn't. And we're very much in alignment with Sarah McLaughlin and her work, what she's doing at her school. Again, very different model where the kids come to the school. But we're working with all these different organizations to find, where are the kids not being served? And it turns out that going right into their communities, right into their classrooms is not only helping their confidence and their social feeling purpose and feeling a part of something, but it's actually making them want to go to school. So the days we're there, the attendance is up. So the benefits are enormous, right? We obviously want kids coming and getting education. The teachers that run these particular classes are phenomenal human beings, and they're in a very different part of the school than the mainstream, as they would call it. So yeah, it's very, very impactful. Yeah.
That's really incredible. It sounds a lot like you guys are big on meeting kids where they're at.
Yeah, well said. Yeah.
And that to me, I think, is incredibly important for any type of kid who has, interests of varying degrees, like pretty much every kid out there.
Yeah.
Right? Because the more I think kids feel shut out, the more shame they feel and the more closed off they get.
Absolutely.
Right? And I think that's incredibly important what you guys are doing. And it's one of those things where like people would think, oh, there's probably something like that, but there's not. Right?
Yeah.
And you said something really interesting. You said ears first, eyes second. Can you explain why that's super important?
Oh, great. I love this question.
That's
I
a
mean,
great
this is the
question.
hill I
It's
will
almost
die
like
on.
he's a podcast interviewer. It's crazy.
Thank you. Yes, ears before eyes. I mean, in terms of the senses, right now my eyes are closed, and I'm listening to the sound in the room, the sound of your voices, and music is going to travel by sound. It's very obvious when you say that to a musician, and yet the general public thinks I'm supposed to learn to read music, right? And I would say yes and no. Like, it's a tool in the toolbox, and it actually might not even be one you need. In fact, many of our favorite artists do not read music, and that's usually met with a bit of a confused look. And then I'll mention Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, Jeff Healey, on and on. These great musicians that they obviously weren't reading music; they were blind. When you shut your eyes out and you listen to music, the language part of your brain, which is the subcortex, I believe, it's like it processes so much faster, right? Like the neocortex, the new part of your brain, even a genius, maximum 60 bits per second, right? That's where, like, if you're going to be a lawyer, an accountant, a doctor, you really have to have a very strong, high-performing neocortex. But that's not where language comes from. That's where self-critique, anxiety, judgment, fear, that's where that's really hardwired. And that's where note reading is processed. That's my eyes are looking at a piece of paper. These little black dots are translating to sound I'm hearing. And instead of just absorbing the sound, I'm now using this really challenged part of my brain to process a totally different language to then learn to hear the language that I can already hear. Talk about a middleman process that's getting in the way. So traditional music teachers absolutely hate me for what I'm about to say, but I do not think note reading should be introduced until the ears are developed. I don't think it should be in the first lesson. I think it should come much later, once the musician, child or adult, has already shown they're hearing music and feeling it. Then we say this little black dot means what you're already hearing. And it's a great way to catalog, on paper. And sure, back in Beethoven's day, like, they didn't have recording technology. You had to write this down or else it died, right? But, like, honestly, do you think if Mozart had an iPhone, they would want to be sitting down with a pencil writing every meticulous note? They would just put the phone out with voice memo and record their piano and be like, I'll come back and notate that later. At least I got it, right? So the ears before eyes method is language, right? And it's much like, if I was going to learn, let's say I was going to learn how to speak French or Spanish, and I buy a book and I read it. Good luck, right? If I go to Spain and I just absorb by sound and being there, I'm going to learn it way faster. And then sure, the book's going to help and it's going to give me some sense of structure. And the last thing I'll say too is, even in terms of how we learn language, like, there's no evidence that a human being ever learned to read before they could hear the sounds. So why are we doing that with music? Why is a 5-year-old subjected to a book with a black dot where the teacher says that is middle C and you hit it here on the keyboard, and that's how we're introducing the language? Why would you not do it like all other language? Because there's no debate. Music is language, and it's processed in the exact same part of the brain as the words we're speaking. So to try to get it into the neocortex is lunacy. It explains why the classical methods have basically rendered millions of people to think they're not musical, right? It's I would argue it's the most damaging thing ever in music. I hate to be that guy for that whole organization that's making billions of dollars, but let's just call it out for what it is. And it's great for 1% of the people, maybe 5%. For those that can do it, that had that brain that it was built for, good for you. Great for those that were built to play basketball or be horse jockeys or lawyers. All of you, great. But for everyone else, that's not the method. That's not how language works. So I'm very passionate about it. I'll stand down now.
No, that's awesome. I never really thought of that. You're basically applying the same method of learning a language, being immersed in the place that speaks that language to music. You're immersing the kids in the world of music.
100%.
So they can learn the language more efficiently.
Yes, be in it.
Yeah.
Listen in it. Be in it, talk it, speak it, share it. That's why their songs matter, because if they know the song, it's familiar, if you show them a song they've never heard before, especially with notes, oh my God, like Fur Elise, like why don't you play it for the kid first at least?
Yeah.
Play it and see if they even like it.
Yeah.
Play it once, like, do you like it? They're gonna say no.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, no. Then play them the theme from their favorite video game and watch if they smile.
Yeah.
Then show that to them without notes until they've memorized it and be like, look, you can play.
Yeah.
And then a year later, be like, look, these are little black dots. These are fun too.
Yeah.
If you want them.
Well, it's also like, I think you're also trying to speak their language in the best way possible, right? What I mean by that is, for instance, I have a kid who he really is another kind of walks around, he wanders, he just sees what everyone's up to, but never really participated in anything until one day we sat down with him. He has an iPad of all of his vocab, and so he can create sentences and it'll play it out loud. And what he asked us to start doing was he'll make a sentence, whatever sentence that is, and he'll go, now play it and sing it on the piano, however you want, but I want to hear it. Like musically speaking.
Wow.
And he it was so crazy because he's more he can be more of an aggressive kid, kind of someone to watch, but he'll get up and he'll start dancing now.
That's
like
amazing.
It's so awesome. So he'll make a sentence like, she has door when
Yeah.
and he's like, okay, go play it. And you're like, she has door. And then he'll just start laughing. And he's like,
Nice.
yes.
Nice.
And so it's like, there's other kids that color really helps them. So when we have different stickers on the keyboards, there's one particular kid that I don't say notes with. I say, can you find where the yellow is? Can you find where the blue is? He doesn't go E, he goes blue. And then there's other kids that can read notes, but it's like, I find that we're really good at, like you said, meeting kids where they're at, and they all have their own language also that we need to be able to translate to connect with them as well.
Yeah. Can I say that's like an incredible method to do? And I can imagine how much work it takes to find each individual kid's language.
Yeah, they're all different.
They're all different. They're all unique. They
Yeah.
all respond differently.
Absolutely.
So you got to find ways to meet them where they're at,
Absolutely.
rather than demanding that they come to you to where you're at.
Exactly.
Which it sounds like what old school methods have been doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. The one-on-one, every child matters. I mean, obviously that phrase has so many meanings, right? We've heard a lot about horrible historical, like what's happened to kids. And I think in this example, every child matters. Every child's unique character and personality really matters. To sort of snuff that out and say, well, you're going to be a homogenized, you're going to go through these exact method books, the way that some arbitrary system decided is what is good about music, is really not relevant to most kids where they are in that stage in their life, especially teenagers when they're getting exposed to all the challenges that teenagers go through, right? To give them a sanctuary where someone like Katie comes in and brings that out in them and supports their music choice and says, that is cool. That ringtone is cool.
Yeah.
You're right. You're good. Your opinion matters, right? And if the next kid comes along and says, oh, the ringtone sucks, we will like, well, no, we don't say that. That ringtone's actually good. And what you like is really good too. So, I mean, I've often thought about, how would you word when you're discriminatory towards music? Because it happens a lot, right? People will say, well, that sucks, or, I don't like that artist. It's like, we really try to erase that also in our presence. So all of our teachers and all the kids we work with, they learn this community support where every kid's choice gets celebrated. And when they do their year-end performances, whatever they decide to do, they get an ovation. Right? Some kids get up there and they want to conduct. Some want to just do the light show. Others have composed a song using all their classmates' instruments. I mean, it's wild what they decide to do. And Katie, what you said, I just want to tell everyone this too. Going back to 2019, when we really started this particular model of teaching, and we went in with an assumption that it was going to work, and we weren't really quite sure. How are we going to get into a classroom full of 15 spicy kids? They're all different, right? And by the way, the classes we work with, the kids range from grade 8 to 12, and they're all in the same class. We're not just dealing with like one age group. We're dealing with grade 8ers and grade 12ers, and they're from all different walks of life. We've got kids that just moved to Canada, you name it. Like, it's a very diverse, inclusive environment. And I'll just share one story about a kid named Kyle. And Kyle wouldn't make eye contact, and he didn't talk. And the teacher told me, hey, this is Kyle. We love Kyle. Kyle won't really acknowledge you, but you know, he's here. Like he's paying attention. And within a few weeks, Kyle fist bumped me. And I thought, wow, that's huge. And then he looked at me and I'm like, so these are big breakthroughs, right? Mm-hmm. And then Kyle started talking and singing and playing the drums, right? And this isn't the only example. I would estimate we've had well over 30 kids over the last 6 years that were non-speaking, non-verbal, not only start speaking, start singing. And if it sounds like a miracle, it would appear like one, but again, it goes back to the part of the brain that is processing language. Katie nailed it. By Katie watching the student and going, hey, you're using your iPad to talk. Go over to this keyboard and put it to music, and the kid opens up and starts expressing. That part of the brain that's been dormant for whatever reason, or repressed, or was told at a young age not to speak, or whatever happened there, things do shift. And I would argue that it's music in the environment with their peer group, being seen by the teachers and being part of something. It's all of that that's moving the brain. And if anyone wants to look up the current research that Stanford's doing on nonverbal, non-speaking kids, they, of all people, don't even have enough budget to do proper research. And it's Stanford, so that's scary for one. They're studying neurotransmitters, like what's happening when we give certain shots of oxytocin or serotonin or other neurotransmitters, and so they give these small doses to kids, and they'll say, oh, we noticed for 30 minutes the kids seeming to be a little more participating. And I'm like, guys, music. You don't need to insert anything. It naturally happens in music when you're seeing them. Their brain lights up. All these neuro harmony. That's why we call it the neuro harmony method. That's literally what we call it. So I could go on and on, but thank you, Katie, because the way you described that scenario with that kid, it gives me goosebumps, and it also makes me appreciate just how amazing our teachers are. That I'm not even in that particular situation knowing that's happening. That's happening with every teacher, with every kid.
And what I really also love is that almost every kid gets excited to the point of being like, where's my teacher? I want to show them what I'm doing.
Right.
Or even like we have one student that she just wants to show all the teachers what she's doing at that one moment. So she goes, go get Peyton. Or like she tells Peyton, she's like, go get Katie. I want to show her this. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she'll play her little thing, and I'll be like, whoa. And she's like, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's awesome.
That's amazing.
Hell yeah.
So fun.
Right?
That's
so
really
they get excited to show off too.
Totally.
Which gives them the confidence, like you're saying as well.
Yeah, that self-confidence to like, look what I did. And it's like because of the help that you guys are providing.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Can you guys tell me a bit about the programs that you're offering right now through the charity? Yeah.
So currently we're on 6 sites. We're at 5 high schools in Vancouver, and we're working in a particular program that serves this student demographic, of which there are 8 high schools in Vancouver that have these classes. And some of the high schools have 1 of this type of class, some have 2, and some have 3. So we're in 6 different sites, and the other one is in North Vancouver at the North Shore Disability Resource Center, which is an after-school community program. So we have 2 days a week where we get a team together. They come to Horizon, where we store the gear for free because it's my school. So nothing costs anything. We are so good with our limited resources. We're probably the most well-run charity. I'm going to boldly state we're the most cost-effective charity of our size out there. And I've heard from other charities, like, we can't believe what you're doing with pennies. And so not having to pay rent and not having, we use our own vehicles. I mean, teachers are so generous with their time. It takes a while for the team even to assemble. So they might have to meet at 10 a.m. They have to go up to my school, grab the gear in these little carts, load their cars up, and then drive 20, 30, 40 minutes to get to these high schools, unload the gear, walk through the hallways, get to the classroom, do an hour, pack it up, get in the car, and go to the next one. And this takes 5 to 6 hours of their day. We're currently serving about 100 kids, and at our peak, I think we were serving around 120. It's certainly why we're trying to raise more money. I mean, we could serve so many more kids if we just had a reoccurring network of funding from the government, from grants, but we're also happy to hustle and figure it out, and that's why we're here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
not to get money from your listeners, to get the word out. By the way, I want to be clear. Like, we understand people listening, musicians, artists. Like, you're doing everything you can to make sure the world is a happy, healthy place, right? The larger organizations out there that are, I don't want to be like hurling insults and derogatory, but like there's a lot of large organizations that could be doing so much more, right? So our goal is to get the word out, and I think somebody listening is going to have a contact with somebody who's in a higher up organization, and they're going to go in there in the office, they're going to say, listen, you and I got to talk.
Yeah.
What is your organization doing to help local? What are you doing that's actually helping? Not just to get a tax receipt, not just to look good on paper, but there are kids that this is literally saving lives. That's not just that's an accurate statement. When sadly we've even lost kids. We haven't directly, but the classrooms have lost kids. And we've talked to the teachers. It's heartbreaking when a kid stops coming to school, gets involved in drugs, gangs, and we know we could have made a difference. But we need to be there more, right? And you can only get so far with volunteer effort. You need a core team of teachers like Katie that are dedicated to this cause, that want to do the work, that are going to show up reliably and keep reaching these kids, because they need consistency, right? Even the school teachers, unfortunately, transfer in and out a lot because it's a hard demographic. So one classroom, we went through 5 different head teachers in 2 years. We were there every week. The kids trusted us because we were there every week. You know, and that's the reality. It's a harsh reality, but we're going to consistently show up week after week. We're never going to stop. I say to the kids, like, you are a lifelong part of our organization, and in many cases, they become part of our org. Like, we've got a young man named Mikhail, and he's a genius. And I'm like, Mikhail, you got a job as soon as you're old enough to work. You know, you're getting a job, and he sent a video saying, Chris, you've done the nicest thing you've ever done in my life. And I'm like, Mikhail, you're the greatest kid ever. Like, so yeah, we need support. We need the word to get out. I know I'm kind of rambling a bit, get the listeners pumped up and jacked, but right now, write someone's name down on a piece of paper that you think can make a difference. Get a hold of Jimmy, get a hold of us, and just get the word to Katie. She'll do something with this information.
I will do many things.
Yeah.
Okay, back to your regular scheduled program.
No, it's great that you were talking about that, because one of the things that we're trying to do at Champions of Hope was bring the community together.
Yeah.
Because we all can help each other out, but a lot of the times, like, people need avenues to do that.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why we run the shows that give back to charity, because people want a way to give back.
Yes.
But it's just so overwhelming and so stressful out there
Yeah.
that they kind of get lost, like, in the void of things.
Yeah.
Right.
I love this this idea that the local artists, the bands, the podcasts, the businesses that care, we're finding a way forward as a group, and the more of us we find, then the more strength we have, in that we're all trying to do the right thing. It's so obvious what the right thing is too, and it's I think it's going to work. I think a show like this is very important. Plus, both of you are incredible artists yourselves, right? And you're out there playing and spreading the message. And you know, you think of an artist who has a certain notoriety, like you could think of a huge artist like Taylor Swift. I mean, she is doing great work. She's trying to help the world, right? And I think on a more community-based level, playing a show and having 50 people show up that all are in on a good cause, those 50 people go home, they have 4 people in their life they're going to spread. Like, it really does make a difference, right? Any little thing, you know. So we're very, very appreciate the opportunity to speak about this and share it with you and your listeners.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I knew how important the work was because I read about it, and my coworker who works Championship also did it too as well, and sent me some notes, and I could imagine how impactful it was. But just hearing it from you too, just like confirms all my beliefs that I had about it. Can you two just share, like, the ways the mission has impacted you personally?
Katie, you got to go first on this one.
What a crazy question. I need to think about this for a second. I would say very similar to what you said about wanting to make a difference and not knowing where to start. For me and for many musicians, music saved my life. And when I first started going to Horizon School of Music and having an incredible teacher, it really showed me that if I want to do something, I got to go do it. And I'm going to have people that really, really believe in me, like Chris, that cheer me on and that constantly are in my corner. And so experiencing that for a number of years through Horizon and seeing that could be a possibility for me to do for other people was just kind of a no-brainer of like, well, of course I would instantly do that. And on a day-to-day, I find when I walk out of a classroom, I think I have just a greater sense of well-being, just in general. Like the kind of time that you get to spend with these kids and connect with them is so meaningful, and it inspires me to keep playing music and to just encourage them to do the same thing and come in and go, guess what I did? I played a show. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And also, guess what? You can too. And they're like, no. And I'm like, yeah, man. And so like, I think it, in a sense, like, I just feel a greater sense of purpose. I'm doing something that really matters, and I'm doing something that I wish I could have had. And I feel like that's how it's definitely impacted me.
That's so great to hear. Like I'm listening to what you're saying, and that might be the segue to how it makes what I've learned and what it makes me feel is it still blows me away when I listen to what's happening. Right? Like I'm so in it, and yet every day I'm reminded of it. So it's a very interesting perspective, and I think that for me, it's been a real journey of personal growth. I think anyone listening can relate or has learned this, that when you serve others, you get out of your head. And that one of the worst things that can happen to a human is they're stuck in their head. We're not meant to be alone in a silo figuring out the problems of the world by ourselves. We survived, dinosaurs and saber-toothed tigers and got to this point because we worked together, not because and that now we're in this era where separation and loneliness are probably the worst they've ever been in history. So I think in this process of serving the organization, it's also given my life meaning. Teaching always did, but like anything, you have to grow. And so teaching one-on-one, I did it for a long time. I loved it, but it felt safe. It felt easy, familiar, comfortable. And I remember hearing an interview about an optometrist doctor who was somewhere in a country in Africa spending 6 months of his life restoring sight to blind people. And the interview was so profound. And I remember this feeling of, what am I doing? Like, holy shit. Yeah. What part of music that I am tending to could help in any small way? Like, I'm not going to be like that. I can't go give sight back, but I could do something. And then I started thinking about kids like Jordan and the other kids that I worked with, and even adults that struggled that would come in and say, this is like therapy for me. So it's kind of a no-brainer to find a way to amplify the lessons out of one-on-one and make it one-on-more. And so that was kind of stage one of all this. And we were very, those of that know me, I'm it'd be funny to get a 360 and hear what people around me think, but sometimes the word tornado or, slow down, Chris, or, you have to ask permission. Like, I'm just not that guy. Like, if I want a door, I'll go build it and open it. Right. Yeah. And I don't wait for permission, and I just see opportunities and I want to go really fast. So I've also had to learn, as this organization has grown and so many great leaders have jumped on board, like people in the music community, people that were my former students. We have some really amazing leaders that are now on our board, and we've had to really legitimize the organization going back many years. Like we were always compliant. We were always doing everything to the best of our ability, but we are certainly built now in a way that the structure of the organization has great leadership, and it's not just me. And I've learned to let other people take the lead. And that's something for me personally that's happening right now, is just watching Katie and Peyton and the teachers in the classroom. Like, I'm not in those classes as much as I used to be, because I'm now dealing with fundraising and things that, to be honest, I don't really want to do, but I have to do them. And yesterday I went into the classroom and I was blown away, and like Katie said, I walked out of there renewed, recharged, and ready for the next round of insurance and banking and fundraising and meetings and all the things that have to be done to make this organization grow, because we need that. But I said to the teacher, Anna, the head teacher of the actual classroom, I said, Anna, I needed this. My fuel tank is full. And you see me, I'm lit up today. Had I not gone into that classroom yesterday, coming in and doing this interview today would feel very different. Those kids came running up to me. They wanted to show me the songs they'd written. Oh, Chris, you're here. And oh God, it was smiles around.
They're always asking where Chris is.
It was wild.
Every time I go.
Yeah. I love it. I would say to anyone listening that if you're interested in the arts, and you obviously are because you're listening, you know how good this show is, you know the great caliber of guests, and everybody's trying to do something that, I think finding your own way to give back, even if it's 1 hour a week, 10 hours a week, whatever you can do, you have a skill set, you have a particular thing that you love to do that could help, that matters. And that will bring you fulfillment. And then you're helping yourself help others. It's really a virtuous cycle. You know, totally. I get so much more out of it than I give. Yeah. Just by helping others. It feels almost selfish. It's a weird thing to say. And I know it's going to help. Yeah. But I don't do it for that either. It's like you have to do something, you know, especially I'm 50 years old. Like, these kids and music deserves it. I always looked at it like I was a steward of music. Something was given to me, and it saved my life too. Oh my God, did it save my life many times. And so yeah, you got to give back and take the gift that was given to me and pay it forward, share it the next generation. Right. So
yeah,
that's incredible. Those are very. There's never a right answer, but it's like
I think we're doing right answers though.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I wanted to ask quickly, kind of, what are your current metrics right now? Like, how many kids are you working with? How many schools are you in? What's kind of the size?
Yeah, it's about 100 kids total, and it fluctuates. 6 locations. We could be everywhere. I mean, but that's our capacity right now, because we do have to work with, like I said, to have the caliber of teachers we have. These people like Katie do not grow on trees, and we've had about 30 to 35 teachers over the last 6 years, and everybody that's currently with us is loving the work, and everyone that's ever worked with us loved the work. But not everybody could stay because there wasn't enough hours, there wasn't enough sites, right? So we would have like this really amazing teacher come in, and we would come to my school, pick up the gear, we'd drive to a classroom and only be there for an hour, and then go back to the school, drop the gear off, and that was 3 hours of their day. And we're like, sorry, we don't have any money to pay you. And everyone's like, wow, I really love to do this work, but I need, like, I got to pay my own bills, and we get that, right? Yeah. So I think that we're at our max right now. We do, we throw concerts, we do events. Like last year, I set a world record, longest guitar lesson in history, 25 and a half hours.
That was awesome.
Yeah. To raise awareness and to get money coming in, you know. So we raised, between that and 2 concerts I held, we raised over $30,000, and that funded our program for like 6 months. Nice. So we can do it. Yeah. People out there want to help, but they like that kind of stuff brings a lot of attention in. And then we raise some money, and then we can go into more classes, which gives our teachers more dependable hours, and that's the flywheel. We're not just helping the kids and the classrooms and then their communities. Like, the teachers that we hire at Empower Through Music are not necessarily the teachers that could get a job teaching at a traditional music school. They might not have a diploma, a degree, or any experience, but that empathetic, caring, I want to make a difference, you cannot get that in school.
Can't teach it.
You can't teach it. People either have it or they don't. So that's, we collect people like Katie, and we do not want to lose them. They're worth their weight in platinum, or whatever the big mineral is right now. Silver is pretty popular, I guess. So who would have thought silver would be so expensive? But there we go. So
that's amazing. And what would, I know you guys don't have the capacity right now, but what's the process like for a school to approach you to integrate you into their curriculum? Yeah,
so word of mouth is spread for sure. The 8 high schools that have these particular programs in Vancouver all know about us, and although there's been some head teacher transition, so what happens is a new teacher will come in and they won't know about us. So we do rely on the word of mouth of the head teachers, like Anna, one of the classrooms we serve. She's phenomenal. She believes in us. She's one of our voting members. Like, these high school teachers will literally join our organization. That's how impactful it is. One of the teachers actually is now on our board, and Kristen. So Kristen runs an organization called Kaleidoscopes, and they have a building on Broadway, and that's an amazing organization. So she's been a huge help for us, and her and I teamed up, and I said, what happens to these kids after they graduate? Like, your whole purpose is to get them to learn life skills. Like, can I take a bus? Can I go buy groceries? Like, stuff we take for granted, these kids are learning in school. They learn how to cook for themselves. In many cases, their guardians or parents are not capable, right? So we're really seeing this amazing community built, and the kid graduates, and now what? And Kristen said, unfortunately, there's nothing. They get out into the world, and we lose them. So she built an organization that absorbs those kids once they graduate called Kaleidoscopes, which is phenomenal. So that's for young adults from, 18 to 30, that now have a community outside of high school, right? So that's how we're growing. That's how word gets around. I would also say from my hometown of Chilliwack, we have a very strong support network out there, including the local politicians, the mayor, doctors, teachers. It's just, we can't get out there because it's just logistically impossible for us to be in two places at once. But once we get this particular model down out here, we have our funding in place. I would say the next thing is to expand into North Vancouver, perhaps Burnaby, Coquitlam, like really try to make it a regional success. And then next stop is Chilliwack, because in Chilliwack, they have a much more condensed, focused network of leadership. They really care about their community, and it's not that Vancouver doesn't, but it's just so big here that every jurisdiction has its own challenges. The school board, everything's disconnected because of the size. So it's a great question, like how do they hear about us? How do we get into more classes? People ask for us, and sadly, we just don't have the budget to go serve yet. But there's creative ways we could solve that. We could do professional development days, like the way we teach music, for example. We could go in and teach a group of high school teachers how we do it, give them the tools, the equipment, and the ongoing support that they could do it as well, so that we don't physically have to be in their classroom. And that's really the ultimate goal is, can we get music into every single kid's life for free? Right? They don't need to pay money for it.
Yeah.
That's coming from the owner of a music school.
Yeah.
So, right? We do not need to charge. Like, sure, come pay money. It's like the Robin Hood model. The rich can come at my school and pay their money, and then I donate all my time to the charity.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's like, you want to help? There's lots of ways to help. If you're rich, help.
Yeah.
If you know someone who's rich, get them to help.
100%. Yeah. And we had a music therapist on here, and I wanted to ask, because she was a musician as well, how would someone who's interested in teaching get involved with you guys?
Well, we'd love that. So we do want music therapists to join our cause. Our head teacher, Peyton Hansen, is a certified music therapist, and she's phenomenal. We've talked a lot about what does it feel like for a music therapist to enter Empower Through Music, because it's not like music therapy in the traditional sense, because we are doing this in the classroom, one-on-many, multiple music therapists at the same time, right? Like, usually a music therapist is going to go into a care home, children's hospital, a community center. They're going to play their guitar and sing songs and hand out some shakers, right? It's great.
Yeah.
It's kind of me performing for you, and we're sharing music, and that's like great. I mean, what a wonderful thing. Care homes need it. But to our model, we're handing the instruments to the kids and saying, no, this is for you. You play for us. We're going to show you how to do what you want to do. So that can be a bit odd. So anyone listening that wants to help may need to understand that first. Like, it's not what's being taught in music therapy programs per se. And then we would have them easily reach out. Like, you can get our contact information after the show. I mean, empowerthroughmusic.org. You can message us through the website. Katie is going to receive that email. She's going to make sure that our team sees it.
Yeah.
We do a slight vetting process. How do you think you could help? How would you like to help? What's your availability? And you're in. I mean, we're going to obviously run a criminal record check. We want to make sure we have, we got to be careful there.
Yeah.
We're working with kids, vulnerable youth, vulnerable society. But if you can survive all that, then yeah, we want you.
Yeah.
Totally.
What I'll do is I'll drop the contact info in the description of the video for anyone to reach out. Yeah, I kind of like to end on this one it's kind of a major question. It's a bit more dark because you guys are a charity, but I ask musicians it most of the time. But I say, like, let's say Empower Through Music was just wiped off the face of the earth. All the work, all documentation is just gone. What would be the core message you would want to leave with people about the work you're doing?
Simple. You know what I'm going to say.
Everybody speaks music.
That's the billboard. Everybody speaks music. You all do. You all speak music. If I hear another person say, "Oh, I'm not musical," I'm like, "You've just met your match," because I would love to show you that you're wrong.
Yeah.
Everybody speaks it. Every single human. It's natural. It's our. I think scientifically, it's been just so well established that it was our first language. You know, humans were not speaking words; they were making sounds. We were banging rocks in rhythm and time, just like animals do. You know, so why is that such a shock in 2026? Like, people are like, "No way!" I'm like, "Yeah, way." Do you think we were talking like this? Like, we were gutturally doing things, and a lot of it was music, and it's been proven. It's like just our genealogy, you know. So we all have it in us. If you don't think you can speak music, it's honestly because somebody told you you can't. Something happened to you. Somebody told you you sounded out of key. Like, a lot of kids are, you know, singing, and, you know, mom or dad, unfortunately, they're just in a bad mood. Like, "Hey, stop! You sound horrible." They don't realize, like, even a 2-year-old. Oh, I do. You know, or you go into your first music lesson and the teacher's like, "Oh, you're never going to make it." So there's so many examples of why people were told they're not musical. It's just infinite. I've had lawyers break down in tears. I'm almost like a therapist myself now. I'll be like, "When did this happen?" And they're like, "Oh my God, it was my dad when I was 4. You know, it's like a powerful lawyer. And I'm like crying. I'm like, "See, we got you. Like, it wasn't you. Somebody told you this BS." So yeah, everybody speaks music.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. You guys were ready for that. I love that.
Well, it's like literally like in the car before this, he was like, "You know what I'm gonna say." And I was like, "Everybody speaks music." He was like, "That's right."
I don't even know it was about this context. We were talking about something else. I'm like,
I know, but it comes up because it's true.
Yeah.
No,
But I instantly knew.
That's amazing. And I think charities are perfect people to answer that question, right? Because it's the core message that's the most important thing.
Totally.
And it's funny, like, I have a lot of friends who say, like, "Oh, I'm not musical," and I always say, like, "You are." Like, I swear you are. Like, there's something in there that's musical. I know there is. And you're right, it's inherent.
Yeah. Could I end with a music lesson?
Yes.
For everyone listening?
Yeah.
Okay. So everybody listening, take a deep breath in your belly. Okay. Big belly breath. Breathe out really slow. So I want you to think about if you could only pick 10 songs that you were going to listen to for the rest of your life. Now you're going to want to pause the podcast because this is a really big question, obviously. But now let's say you've got those 10 songs, and now you've got to pick one. So you're going to keep narrowing it down until you get to one. You'll only get one. And now you got to figure out what the main instrument or the main driver of that sound is. Is it voice? Is it guitar, piano? Is it drumming? What aspect of that song is vibing that you can't stop listening to it? And then you're going to learn that one song, and you're going to obsessively work on it, and nobody's going to stop you. You're going to spend an hour a day on that song. You're going to find a teacher who believes in this vision. If the teacher says, "We don't do that because that's level 10 and you're level 0, then find another teacher. And they're going to want to strip it down, obviously. Like, if it's really complex, like if you picked a Rush song and you're a drummer, yes, you've just decided to climb Mount Everest for your first hike. So it's going to be hard. So, like, be realistic. It might take you 5 years. It might take you 10. Like, the first song I picked was D by Randy Rhoads, and it took 3 years to learn. So I'm living proof of this. And what you do is you just, because it's something you love so much and you have a core driver of why you picked it, because it's your favorite song of all time, you're not going to get sick of it. And every time you make progress, you're going to feel like you're on the right path. You're going to feel like, I just unlocked that next chord. My voice can now hit that melody. And there's things you can do too. Like, obviously, if I want to sing like Paul McCartney, I can't yet because I haven't studied with Andrew Balboa. But I could change the key and I could own the song in my own language, right? That's another thing. You don't have to sound exactly like the original. You could reframe the song because maybe it's not the sound of the song. Maybe it's the lyrics or there's something about the song. You don't have to sound exactly the same. Like it'd be like as silly as saying I'm going to paint the Mona Lisa exactly the same and only then am I a qualified artist. That's not good at all. Don't copy. Don't be like another artist. Like, it'd be silly to spend your whole life trying to trace. Yeah. And like at some point you're going to get bored of that anyway. So find your own art in this one song. That's your North Star. Find the teachers or mentors or friends who are not going to think you're crazy. And they're going to ask you every day, are you still working on that song? Good. You know, if somebody says, "Are you still working on that song bad?" That's the wrong person to be involving in this process. And as crazy as it sounds, all the other things will line up. You will eventually be curious about why those notes, why those keys, what's the theory, what's the technique. Those things will answer themselves. You can learn all music from one song. And that master one thing, master 10,000 things. Once you've mastered that one song, and you will learn others, obviously, you're going to, like, in 3 years, I learned 100 other songs that were easier. You know, low-hanging fruit becomes appealing and you want to break out of this one hard thing. But yeah, you'll figure out what it really takes to have tone and to have connection, which I think is lacking in a lot of music training, right? Like, a lot of musicians will play for years and not understand how to make a nice tone because they're learning too much stuff. So they learn like a piece of music, then another one, and like they're 10 years in and they've never really mastered a tone, right? So like, what about that one song? It keeps getting better. You know, you have to keep at the process. There's no shortcut. And that's my music lesson. Just, yeah, find people who believe in you.
Nice. It's a mic drop moment. It is. Yeah.
I love that. Okay. How can people support you right now?
Contact me and ask how you can help, and I will tell you. We need volunteers. I'm currently trying to set up some fundraising shows right now, so I'm reaching out to a lot of local bands. If you have old equipment that you don't use anymore that you think could have a purpose somewhere else, give it to us. If you want to be a part of a fundraising show, if you want to perform at one, if you want to have us come and talk at one, or have business cards, or just hang out, we will come to that. Like, we just want to have as many people know as possible what we're doing, and the more that happens, the more we can sustain it. And so really, yeah, if there's any way that you can think of, or if you're not sure, email me and I will tell you. I'll give you a list of things. But yeah.
And Empower Through Music may be a beneficiary when Champions of Hope show coming up. So
that'd be wonderful. Yeah. If you're a musician, an artist. We just had a hair salon reach out.
Yes. Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to give them a shout out because they're an amazing group, and I would rather get the name right than try to go off memory. But they have a salon in Gastown. They're called, you may want to edit this part out while I'm fumbling to get the name of it.
No problem.
Oh, Katie, you should know it's in your email too. Sheer?
Yeah. Shadow, isn't it Shadow
and Sheer?
Shadow and Sheer.
Shadow and Sheer, Gastown.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're doing they have a hair salon, and they're very much a supporter of arts, and they are doing these events in their hair salon and wanted to raise money for a music charity and found us. And I met one of the owners and just saw, she was working on her laptop, running a business, and still cares enough outside of trying to make ends meet in her own business to do something good for the community. So, we've got a hot chocolate festival going on. Yep. Where one of the youth that we worked with, their parents, are part of this hot chocolate festival. So like anything like that, when we do shows, if you want to be part of our street team, again, reach out to Katie. If you think you're someone that has a network where when you post on your social media, like, others are going to see it and know to come and support, like, that's huge for us. Just getting the word out on a show so that instead of 10 people coming, 100 come. Bring your friends. And I think overall that grassroots connectivity is going to really help all of us. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your work, and thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
Wonderful talking to you. It's wonderful to see you again.
Yeah, you too.
So crazy.
Mind blown.
Small world. We'll drop the contact info in the description and the link to the website as well. We'll keep an eye out what you guys are doing, and get you involved with some Champions of Hope shows.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys. Okay, bye.